There's something most people don't want to admit. People don't treat you based on your intentions. They don't treat you based on your kindness, and they don't treat you based on how good you are. They treat you based on the signals you consistently send about your own value. You've probably noticed this pattern without being able to explain it. Two people say the same thing, one is respected, the other is ignored. Two people set the same boundary, one is taken seriously, the other is pushed. Two people make the same mistake, one is forgiven, the other is judged. The difference isn't confidence, it isn't dominance, it isn't charisma. It's self-respect. Not the kind you talk about, the kind your nervous system communicates before you even speak. Most people misunderstand self-respect. They think it means being loud, being assertive, standing up for yourself aggressively. That's not self-respect. That's compensation. Self-respect is quieter than that. Psychologically, self-respect is the internal belief that your needs, time, and emotional boundaries are non-negotiable. Not important, not special, non-negotiable.
And here's the key. You don't teach people how to treat you with words. You teach them with what you tolerate. Every time you stay silent when something feels wrong, every time you over-explain a boundary, every time you accept disrespect to keep peace, your brain is learning something, and so is theirs. This is where psychology gets uncomfortable. Humans don't respond to logic first, they respond to regulation. People subconsciously scan for who is grounded, who feels stable, who reacts versus who responds. When you lack self-respect, your nervous system leaks urgency. You explain too much, you rush to fix misunderstandings, you feel responsible for other people's reactions. This creates an invisible power shift, not because you're weak, but because your system is signaling, I need approval to feel okay. People don't exploit this consciously, they adapt to it. Respect isn't taken from you.
It slowly erodes when you don't protect your internal state. This is one of the hardest truths. Being kind without self-respect trains others to expect access, expect flexibility, expect emotional labor. Kindness without boundaries becomes availability. Availability becomes entitlement, and entitlement destroys respect. Psychology shows that people value what has limits, not because they're cruel, but because scarcity signals worth. When you always make yourself available, your time loses weight. Your words lose impact. Your presence becomes background noise. This is why some of the kindest people feel invisible. They didn't lack goodness, they lacked containment. Here's what changes when self-respect is present. You stop explaining yourself to be understood. You stop negotiating your boundaries. You stop chasing closure. Not out of arrogance, but because your nervous system no longer panics at disapproval. This creates a subtle but powerful shift. You pause before responding. You tolerate silence. You let people reveal themselves. And something interesting happens.
People either rise to meet your standard or slowly drift away. Both outcomes are correct. Self-respect doesn't make everyone like you. It filters who gets access. When self-respect stabilizes internally, behavior changes externally. You begin to speak less but more precisely, say no without justifying, walk away without making it dramatic. Psychologically, this triggers a recalibration. People sense you're not afraid to lose them. You're not chasing validation. You're emotionally self-contained, and that's when treatment changes. Not because you demanded it, but because your presence now carries weight. Respect follows emotional self-sufficiency, always. There is a cost. When you develop self-respect, some relationships end. Some people become uncomfortable. Some dynamics collapse. Not because you changed, but because you stopped participating in dysfunction. This phase feels lonely, and many people mistake it as failure. It isn't. It's the nervous system detoxing from patterns built on self-abandonment. If you go backward here, respect never stabilizes. Self-respect isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't demand. It simply exists. And when it does, the world adjusts. People don't treat you better because you became harder. They treat you better because you became clear. Clear about what you allow. Clear about what you give. Clear about when you walk away. And once that clarity is present, respect stops being something you chase. It becomes something people bring or lose access entirely. If this resonated, sit with it. And if you want more psychology like this, subscribe, not for motivation, but for clarity.